Hello there, welcome to One on One. My name is Bridget Otu. Thank you very much for joining us. Today, the issue that doesn't seem like it would go away anytime soon. The government tried to shut it using the NSS allowance increment on a Sunday. It was only on that day that I was stunned that government workers, work on Sundays to increase NSS allowance. So Cecilia Dapaah's case keep coming up. Now there's a new strategy. Now she's employed the services of Sam Okujato and associates, targeting media houses who put figures out. Did the media, what is the implications of the current strategy that they are using? And also, how much role are journalists playing in this, in keeping the issue one in the public domain, ensuring there's accountability, and will there ever be justice? But justice for who? Is it for the victims? One of them was a juvenile at the time of the incident. Or is it justice for Cecilia Dapaah because she's going after the media houses who are reporting on this, saying, I don't have $5 million in my account, I don't know where you're getting the figures from. If you don't retract and apologize, I would sue you. Does she have a chance? My guest is private legal practitioner Martin KPEBU to help us, first of all, understand and appreciate, from the legal perspective, and also those of us who watch at home, following the case, to understand, in everyday language, everyone who is at home watching us, to understand what is happening and appreciate the gravity of what we're doing. Thank you very much for joining us on One on One.
You're welcome, Bridget.
I know you've spoken extensively about this, but this doesn't seem to go because every day, and I've heard people say every other day, there's a new episode that's coming out. I'm interested to get your thoughts on, there's a letter out from former Minister of Sanitation and Water Resources, lawyers, demanding a retraction and an apology. I want to get your thoughts on this strategy that they are employing. What is this supposed to do?
Oh, yeah. So, to be honest with you, and we have to speak in a very candid and robust manner,
right,
because matters of public interest also require a lot of candor, right? Yeah. I find it strange, very strange, because look, you see, this matter is one that, to the extent that Madame Dapaah wasn't first to get off the blocks to put her side of the story out, she's lost in the court of public opinion. Right? She's lost. So the letter doesn't really advance her case that much. To be very honest, I don't see what it is advancing because, you see, yes, the matter of $5 million, right? Yes, it would be the case that you wouldn't find a balance of $5 million. But your media house has even done a story on it, right? Putting clarity that that is the volume of transactions. So the volume of transactions is 5 million. And the lay persons have called it $5 million balance. Really, there isn't much difference. So no, it's hair splitting.
Okay.
Hair splitting, right? Okay. You're saying that it's not a 5 million balance, but it is the volume of transactions. So that's the total transactions. Okay. So if 1 million came in today, then another time maybe $20,000, the next time $1, everything you add up, and then eventually you're getting what? $5 million, and it's not, and a lot of that money is gone out, right? And so it's not a 5 million balance. 5 million is 5 million, right? The value is the same, whether it's the total value of transactions or the bank balance. So, these matters like this, that's a legal strategy. You don't want to second guess them. So I can only say from where I sit, I don't appreciate how it advances
for a media house like Multimedia, and to be fair, Multimedia weren't the only media houses that reported on it. I mean, Multimedia is one. We reported on it. City reported on it. I mean, every other media, but then they are targeting Multimedia. What could be the reason behind it?
For now, let's leave them to do that. Let's concentrate on how it doesn't advance the case, and also the fact that, look, this really doesn't serve that purpose. It cannot get Multimedia. It won't. Okay. We don't want to advance reasons that they could say we are wrong because we are not in their legal camp, right? So we can only say what we see from our end. So in terms of journalism, no. The Constitution makes it clear, Article 162, Clause 4, that media should hold government accountable. So in matters like this, the media will report. And look, and when mistakes happen, sometimes they happen, so they will be corrected. So for me, so far, from what I understand, once you're talking about total transactions, being about $5 million, and then let's even say, without admitting, assuming without admitting that somebody says that it's a bank balance of 5 million. I'm saying, look, in the context of this case, look, the value is the same. The value is the same, meaning that there's been a total of what, $5 million of transactions, and somebody is calling it a balance of 5 million. No, to the lay person. So still the question, you see, the reason I'll say the value is the same is that all we are saying is that, wow, how did you come by $5 million? That's the question. Right. That's the question. So when you say no, it's not a bank balance that's 5 million, really, you haven't advanced the case. Because the real thing, like we said before, is how did you come by that money? And that's the way the Constitution puts it, that look, you see, so let's make this distinction as we go on. The Constitution says, look, if we find you with any sum of money that you can't account for, that you can't say it is yours because it is 1, a loan, 2, it is your income, 3, it is a gift, or 4, it is your inheritance, then it is unexplained wealth. We'll take it. That's what the Constitution says. Right. Article 286, Clause 4. So that's why the public are asking the question, how did you get this money? How did you get this money? It's a legitimate question. So please, that particular one is separate from the investigations to be able to unravel corruption or bribery, etc. Let's get them separate. So meaning that, touch wood, if Mr. Kissie Jabin is not able to gather evidence to make a case of bribery and corruption, there is still the lower threshold, which is that by our Constitution, if you can't explain well how you got the money, it's unexplained wealth, so we take it. So the OSP will go back to court for confiscation proceedings. Then in that case, they are only confiscating. Nobody is saying Madam Dapaah was involved in corruption or bribery. No, if you don't have evidence for those crimes, that's it. But there's the other one, that how did you get it? If you can't explain, we confiscate. And it didn't start today. From Kwame Nkrumah's time, we've always had that law. So when Kwame Nkrumah was overthrown, all his appointees, they were paraded before the Jiage Commission. Jiage, Annie Jiage was a Court of Appeal judge. I think one of the early female lawyers in Ghana. She wasn't the first. There was a certain lady, she was first, but somehow the history was not written well. So sometimes they say Annie Jiage was the first female lawyer. No, she wasn't. There is Mrs. Apia. She was at the Attorney General. It's her mother. Okay. It's her mother who was the first Ghanaian female lawyer, right? Okay. But Annie Jiage was such a good lawyer. She headed the commission. Kwame Nkrumah's appointees were brought before the commission. Those who couldn't account for, they were prosecuted and the properties confiscated. So the point I'm making is that it's not today. When you read the Jiage Commission report, you see, Mr. So and so, you bought this house this year. Right. This, you bought this car. You bought this, what do you call it? Other items. But let's look at your income. Your income is X. Why? It doesn't match up. Can you explain? Those who could explain, they went free. Those who couldn't, the properties were taken and they were prosecuted. I'm saying that it didn't start today. So Article 286 Clause 4 is not the first. It's not the first. It's under the 1992 Constitution. No, okay. From Kwame Nkrumah's time, so it's been there. So the last point on this is that, so the public are asking, in the media, you have a responsibility. Yeah. Under Article 2162 Clause 4. Let me read. Clause. It says, Clause 5, I want to read. It says, all agencies of the mass media shall, at all times, be free to uphold the principles, provisions, and objectives of this Constitution, and shall uphold the responsibility and accountability of the government to the people of Ghana. Uphold responsibility and accountability. Hold public officers accountable, hold government accountable. So sometimes mistakes will happen, they don't go far. I wouldn't say the media should explain. The main thing is that if you accept that the total
volume of transaction it's inimical.
And then you go and hear something like, there's this ridiculous thing I'm hearing. Someone saying that volume, they are talking about the whole life of the account for 25 years. That's a palpable falsehood.
How old is the bank?
Yes,
By the way, that bank in Ghana, how old is that bank in Ghana?
Can you imagine? 25 years.
Some of these things should
come
Kisi
Ajabin will not do that. We are looking at the time Madam Dapaah became a minister. That's the relevant time. What does Kisi Ajabin want to do for 25 years? Right. The history of the account for 25 years.
So we knew from the start that there had to be more money because of what was taking. And also the story of her husband just literally walking in on it tells us that there was money. We just couldn't put a figure on it, because if somebody could take this much over a time and you couldn't notice, then there's the reason to believe that there was more. And then this comes out. Did it surprise you at the volumes that is coming? Whether it's 48 million CDs, 2.7 million CDs were discovered in the house. Did that surprise you? And what did that say to you about what currently is going on, whether among appointees?
Yeah, I was really surprised. So we've always known that corruption is such a big problem in this government. This government is riddled with unparalleled corruption in our history. Yeah, this is about the most corrupt administration we've seen since the 1992 Constitution, right? Yeah, but I mean, it beggars belief. I didn't believe that we will see it get this bad, that they will see so much money. So I was really shocked. I was. And you see, this feeds into the narrative. You know, last year, at the height of our economic woes, whilst most of our citizens couldn't buy food, couldn't pay rent, couldn't pay school fees, couldn't buy medication, people were saying it, that look, your money is in the hands of your ministers. Yeah, people said it, that they, look, the presidency and the ministers, look, they have money there. I thought it was just cheap, propaganda. So I didn't want to have anything to do with it, being a lawyer, right? But now with Madam Dapaah's case, it's giving credence to the story that yes, our monies are in the hands and the pockets of our ministers and the presidency. And so that's how come I'm granting you this interview. We have to make all the noise we can, that we want that money back. Because Akufo-Addo can't talk cheap. We vote for him and then now he's fleecing us. No, we will not sit down for that to happen. He's not going to spend all that money easily. He has to return it. They should return it. So I support the call that they should have the ministers paraded and then kind of searched and all that. Yeah, because
you mean all the ministers should be searched?
Oh, because the Constitution says it. And you know, fortunately for us, the OSP doesn't need anybody to complain. So the OSP itself, now that citizens are talking all over, saying that, look, the intelligence we have is that the money is with the ministers and the presidency and all the people, appointees. And the OSP should go ahead, invite, call all of them in one by one, search them. Search them, because look, people may go out with the money, but because you know there are so many people, you never know. We will get some who will be caught. Yeah, definitely you can't catch up, but some will definitely be caught, because you know, as some will try to shift money out of banks, shift money out of their houses and the rest, some will stumble and fall, and they will be caught. It's normal.
Speaking of searching and being caught, I mean, this is something that happened a year ago. And I remember listening to lawyer Samson Ayenini, who said the search, he had said prior to the search that it was a bit late. And then they go there, they find money. Like, it beats my mind that how come they had a year to move money and still there was money in the house?
Yeah, so this is it. It tells you that he who the gods want to kill, the first make mad. Or I like the original version. He who Jupiter wants to kill, he first makes mad. Yeah. That's it.
But then here is the thing. Before the resignation, in fact, after the resignation, the president said, I am sure that your reputation will be intact, like you would nothing. And then we're seeing this. If we're to walk in Akufo-Addo's mind, do you think that he'll be sitting there regretting, or, I mean, given his history of clearing everybody, he's probably...
No. I don't think Akufo-Addo will be regretting. If he was going to regret, he would have regretted long ago, and he would have resigned long ago. So to the extent that he wrote this letter, it tells you that no, he's giving 450% backing to Madam Dapaah. Akufo-Addo doesn't want. Last year, I organized a demonstration asking him to resign. He didn't even say anything about that. He pretended everything was okay. I'm sure Ghanaians, you now see, when I said it, that look, come into the streets, let's tell Akufo-Addo to go. Some of you thought, oh, nothing, now you've seen. Oh, well, we haven't seen anything yet.
What is wrong with the posturing of the Ghanaian public in how we receive these messages, these corrupt messages?
It's the timidity. People are angry, but we are timid. And I keep saying it, look, Bridget, I don't see any soldier or any policeman shooting you if you are doing your demonstration legitimately. Right. We are just too timid. Look, and in any event also, when a lot of people gather, it just happens that naturally one or two get hurt, some die. It's unfortunate. It's just so unfortunate. But sometimes that's how it happens. That's how there's this old saying that is attributed to Thomas Jefferson. That look, from time to time, the tree of democracy is watered with the blood of patriots
wow,
and villains alike. And villains alike. So people die. It just happens because, you know, sometimes trying to make the point, somebody may slip and fall. It just happens. So if everybody thinks, no, I don't want to lose a finger, I'm not going to agitate. Yeah, that's what we get. That these guys will take all the money and insult us in addition. Yeah, that's what Akufo-Addo is doing. Yeah. That letter he wrote, that's an insult. It's a slap in the face of the Ghanaian. We just make noise. Somebody, is it Randy Abbey? Maybe Randy Abbey will say, we are making e-noise. Everything we want to do on the internet. We are not interested in doing it physically. E-noise. E-noise. We don't want the real noise. Get out onto the street. Let's march. I'm sure by the third or fourth day, Akufo-Addo will flee without taking his sandals.
You mean if you have, how many people do you think we need on the streets for Nana Addo to run out of office?
I'm sure maybe 100,000 should do. Yeah, we have 100,000.
But when they were in opposition, I think they organized the demonstration, war bells and war. And more than I think 500,000.
Oh, okay, half.
They said. I mean, there were quite a number of. It was NPP supporters, but they got the numbers on the street.
Yeah, and I was supporting every bit of it. I was supporting everything because we're sick and tired of the Mahama administration and the corruption. Because, like I said, it's not as if corruption started today. Even Kufuor said it. Kufuor, when he was accused, President Kufuor, when he was accused of corruption, he said corruption started from Adam.
Yes, he said it.
JJ came a bit close, but eventually, the Abacha money and all that, and also the fact that he couldn't rein in some of his appointees, so the corruption thing got him. But eventually he admitted that the money Abacha brought, he got what, $2 million. At the time the story started, they said $5 million. He denied it. Eventually, I said 2 million, before he died. He himself admitted it. So it's all been, all of them, that's been the problem. We have an integrity deficit. But JJ was far better. JJ was far better than Akufo-Addo. JJ is better. Maybe if you take Atta Mills, the next will be JJ. Then you come to Kufuor.
In terms of fight against corruption?
Yes. Okay. Yeah, then you come to Kufuor. And especially personal integrity. I'm talking about personal integrity. Okay. Atta Mills is in his own class. None of them can even light a candle to him. No. Everybody knows it. Atta Mills was such an honest man. Everybody knows it. And everybody admits, right? Yeah, so after Mills, JJ. Then after JJ, maybe between Kufuor and Mahama, it's difficult to tell. So maybe I can give third brackets for them, the two of them. And of course, you have Nana, not fourth. Nana is like fifth. So, so fourth, fifth are vacant, and then Nana is a distant fifth. Yeah, that's a scorecard.
Has this sunk in yet? Is it a shock when you come to the realization that this was a man who talked tough in opposition? Talked tough, as in there are so many quotes to him about how if you want to make money, it's not my government. Has it sunk in yet? Does it hurt? Does it frustrate you?
It hurts. Look, I'm deeply hurt. It hurts. So I've gone beyond the shock, so now it's a hurt. Like, this guy is really hurt us. Because, he made Mahama look like he was the worst, he was a vampire. So we all thought, with Nana coming in, Akufo-Addo, he was just going to clean everything up and just set this country right. And no, he was even coming to do worse things, right? Yeah, so there's deep hurt. People are really disappointed. We vouched for him, voted for him. I've never voted for Mahama. No, never voted for him because each time, as I said, every 8 years I change. Initially, I liked MPP. So you see, the JJ era, because I was in uni, we thought dictator. Then also we thought that there are not so many elite at the time in the NDC and the rest. So the MPP looked like they had all the professors and the doctors, so they looked more attractive. And when Kufuor came in and I saw there was so corruption under Kufuor's government, and that was when I said, is that how it's going to be? Okay, then every 4 years I want to change. Yeah, so I voted for Kufuor the first time. 2004, didn't vote for him. I took it to CPP. I knew CPP wouldn't win, but I needed to show up their votes because we needed a third force. Then fast forward 2008, it was time to change. So, and fortunately, Atta Mills was a far better candidate than Akufo-Addo. In terms of personal integrity, Atta Mills was miles ahead of Akufo-Addo. So we voted for Atta Mills. Then, unfortunately, you see, in nature, the one who was honest, he died earlier. Then it was given to Mahama. Bad. So I just couldn't wait to vote for Akufo-Addo to come and replace Atta Mills. So we thought Akufo-Addo was going to be the continuation of Atta Mills. So now he will be a distant sif. It's sad. It's sad. It's sad. This should never happen to this country again. It's just, that's how come now. So look, Bridget, I tell you what, I'm no longer interested in NDC.
But you will vote in 2024.
Yes, and I'm calling on the churches. This is the new message I'm thinking, and people say it can work. We need a third force. Why won't the churches come together? The Catholic Church, Anglican, Methodist, all of them Pentecostals. And you remember Apostle Eric Nyamiche, they did a program about 2 weeks ago.
Yes, morality.
Yes, so he should come together. They should come together and choose some leaders and give us one presidential candidate, and let's rally around that. We're just tired.
You have faith in the church. I don't have as much faith in the church, especially because of how they have treated the National Cathedral scandal. So how do you then sit that, with where you are now, how do you sit that view, or where you are, where you want a third force to come from the church, to how they have responded to the National Cathedral scandal?
Okay, so let me explain. The last time I knew, the Catholic Church said no, officially they haven't backed the National Cathedral. Right. And that one of our bishops, Palmer Buckle, who is on the board, is there in his personal capacity. I know some other churches, is it the Presbyterian Church? Yeah. Also, even if the name is wrong, but there's another big church also came out and gave that clarification that officially they haven't sanctioned it. So one of their ministers who is on the board is also there in his personal capacity. Okay. So, and I believe the other ones we will get. That's why I said they should come together. We want such a candidate that once they put him out there, everybody will vouch for him that, yes, he's an honest man, like the Mills candidacy. You see, Mills, people, everybody who worked with him say, oh, no, this man is clean, this man is clean. So they should choose such a bishop for us, okay? The Catholic Church has bishops, the Presbyterian Church, the Methodist, Anglican, etc. So they should do so.
But if we don't get it, is there anyone who is not in the current crop of, leaders, whether the 10 vying in NPP or NDC's John Mahama, that stands out for you? Who is not currently on?
Not really, because we've seen Mahama before. It wasn't perfect, except, listen.
But he has a better chance of returning.
Yes,
than
yes.
all the others.
Yes. So that's why I said, let's try the churches. If we don't, then maybe we'll
Then who are you voting for in 2024?
So as I said, my first preference is the churches coming together.
Okay.
Churches coming together.
Isn't it late? I mean, we're in 2023. We just have a year and a half.
No, it can happen. It can happen because millions of our citizens are disenchanted with these politicians. The shenanigans, the nonchalance, it's just too much. They've really ruined us. So. If ruined us, look, inflation is what? 43.something% now. December last year, when we were going to Christmas, 54%. I mean, come on. Look, people are dying. You see, as a lawyer, yes, I may be able to scrape through and the rest, but I have relations. And if times were good, I should be doling out money to my relations. So, yes, you hear me cry about poverty. Yes, I say, oh, but Martin, you are not hungry. I'm hungry. To the extent that I have family relations who are hungry, I'm also hungry because it's a shame. If I had enough, I should be able to provide for everybody in the extended family. So once I'm not able to provide, means I'm hungry as well. We are all hungry. We can't pay rent. We can't buy medication. Relations are dying. We can't pay school fees. We can't pay rent. I mean, Bridget, look, it's... come on.
And then after? So if the church is not able to give us a candidate, who will be your next candidate?
For now, then it looks like Mahama may be. Because the reason GM will be better is that, you see, these guys need to go. Having run this economy down, okay, notwithstanding all the warnings, you see, by the end of December 2019, it was clear that this economy was distressed. If you just Google it, you'll find the IMF report, IMF World Bank report, that said by the end of December 2019, we were dead distressed. Yet, we went into 2020, COVID came, and then we ramped up an expansionary economy in 2021, etc. No, it didn't make sense. Where were we galloping to? You see, we galloped with developmental projects. No, we're galloping into galloping inflation. So from one gallop okay, of development into galloping inflation. And that is why we are suffering now. So there's no way we should reward the current administration or the current party with another term in office. No, they need to go. Then most especially we can do post-regime accountability. It's very important. Oh, look, the stories that are coming out, these are few and far in between. We will get more scandals when
they leave office.
Yes, you remember in 2017 when they came. The biggest story I liked those days was, you know, the bauxite contract. It was taken away from Exxon Cubic, the President Mahamet's brothers company, right? Bank of Ghana, the mobile money interoperability contract. It was running into billions, but this current government was able to do it far cheaper, right? And other contracts. So there's there's a lot of value in getting this current administration out and have a different party come. Then we can see, like what we say, what's under the seat. What are they sitting on? Because just like you know how they said everybody is paid for the blood of Fufuriata at the finance ministry, but he will not move an inch. So everybody will tell you that, oh, there are a lot of scandals he's sitting on. He just can't afford to get up now. So that is it. We are waiting for that day. Okay. You know, Bridget, last comment on that, the most exciting things are, okay, even if these guys are not resigning, come what may, next year, next year, they will go. They will go. Right. We will get to know all the scandals, then they will see.
Right. Yeah. Okay. We're taking our very first break. After the break, we'll continue on this. You know, what next for this country that we all are passionate about, and also the issue of Cecilia Dapaah being in court. While there's criminal prosecution against the house helps. One is of age now. She's an adult now. First, she was being tried at the juvenile court, but now she's an adult now. What more can they do? Do they stand a chance against the minister? Should the minister say enough, let them go? What really is the way out here for the house helps? We'll be back with more. Stay with us. Welcome back to One on One. My name is Bridget Otu. My guest is private legal practitioner Martin KPEBU. On a number of things. I mean, the first one is Cecilia Dapaah, her case in court, what her new strategy is, and also we're talking about, you know, generally what the political climate looks like. I mean, Dr. Randiabe says the political class will be the death of it. Would be the death of this country. I don't know if Martin KPEBU agrees with that the political class will be the death of this country.
Yes, unless, of course, there's always resilience. So what he's saying is that if we don't act, certainly.
Okay. Certainly. So we know that about 9 people are currently before the court in respect of Madam Cecilia Dapaah's case. 2 are on bail. 1 is a nursing mother. I'm particularly interested in the one who was a juvenile at the time of the incident, and they had to try her as a juvenile. Now she's an adult. You're a lawyer. Just educate us on it. Yes, she was a juvenile, now she's an adult. How does it work? Just explain to us if somebody's a juvenile. And if it's right to try her as an adult now that she is an adult, even though she was at the juvenile court.
Great. Okay, so these are areas. Yeah. Under our law, right, the age of criminal liability is 12. So meaning that if somebody at the age of 12 does anything that ordinarily you call a crime, it is not. Okay, so if the child is 11 years, 11 months, 29 days, the 12th birthday hasn't come. Right. It's not a crime, generally. Right. But of course, practically, if it's a very grave one, sometimes you try to take the child out of the community, even sometimes a bit into custody. Right. To see, yeah. That was a case I did about 15 or 14, about 15 years ago. Right. A child under 12 involved in a fight with a colleague, and then the friend died. So though it's not a crime, they had to take him out of the community and put him somewhere, you know. Okay, so just leave that side. So generally, we try to treat, not that we try, by law, we are bound to treat juveniles differently. So the person that was taken to the juvenile court, the reason he went to the juvenile court, and even before the juvenile court, it was a circuit court, is that at that time, that person was alone, and we cannot mention names, so we will not say who was taken before the juvenile court. Yeah, so you're taken to the juvenile court because you are alone. So if there are a group of people involved in a crime, some are adults and others are juveniles. If the adults are not found, then it's only the juveniles to be taken to the juvenile court. Now, so last year, that case was taken to a juvenile court because only one person was found, and that person was a juvenile.
Right.
Then the trial went on. I keep talking about how Madame Dapaah came there. Yeah, she testified, and she was cross-examined, and she was crying about her money. She came with a bag to show the court that, look, there was money.
But that was
in
a
this
bad
bag.
strategy. Why did she?
Well,
oh my God.
I don't want to talk about her strategy. Let's describe it in another way. Yeah, she was crying about her money because she said the bag was full of money.
I'm sorry, but I'm interested in, is she clueless? I mean, clueless as in you're a public official.
He who the gods want to kill, he who Jupiter wants to.
So they made her mad. That's why she went to the police. So it was wrong of her to have reported in the first place.
No, it just had to happen. That's accountability. So by reporting, you see now accountability we are on. You see now she's lost office. Yeah, that's God's will. Yeah, you the gods want to kill. First make mad, or say it another way. They'll say nyami on bonny or something. Yeah, so let it be. Yeah. Right? Yeah, so there was a trial. And then she was cross-examined. She was very sad about the money and all that, cried about it. Then that person absconded. So you see, a lot of the time people say in the media that there was a wait for somebody to turn 18. No, that's not the law. Okay. Like I said earlier, under our law, the threshold is 12.
Right.
Below 12 is not a crime. 12 and above, it is a crime. So there's a specialized court. If you're alone, it goes to the juvenile court. But if the juvenile is with adults, then to go to, let's call it a senior court, okay, though we don't use that word. It's not written in our law, senior court. But if there's a juvenile court, if you are not juvenile, then you'll be senior. So at least in the British jurisdiction, they use senior court. So let me use that word, I mean, in this context to distinguish. Or let's say our regular court. So if not juvenile court, regular or senior court. Yeah, so that trial was done. Then that person absconded. So absconded means that the person ran away, didn't come back to court. So it took a while to find the person. So when the person was found, and also in between, while they were trying to find that person, further investigations were being done. Then long story short, eventually, as they got that person, the circumstances surrounding how that person was arrested and everything led to more people. That's how come the dragnet is catching more people. And of course, other persons came with intelligence and all that. Yes, snitching. Somebody came to snitch because he was giving money and he found it to be inadequate. So the main person that led, it was a snitch. Somebody, or Ghana will say chuk. Let me use the word chuk. Somebody went to chuk. So if you don't like chuk and you want the English word snitch, so somebody went to snitch or chuk. That's how come the person who absconded was arrested. And you know, with the arrest, it brought other evidence and then further investigations led to more people. So that's it. And also, before even the case went to the juvenile court, it first went to the circuit court. There's a certain circuit court at the police headquarters. There's a circuit court in there. So there's a new one-stop shop for domestic violence issues and children. Yeah, so there's a court there. But as I said, because at the time it was only the juvenile, the circuit court couldn't go into it. Once the juvenile was alone, it means take it to the juvenile court. So the case was brought to the juvenile court, and then, like I said, there was a trial and all that, and then that person absconded. Then by the time they arrested the person, that taking so much time. But they got more evidence, then the dragnet expanded. Okay.
So do they have a chance in this case? I mean, per the account, per what we have read, she was caught red-handed. They had a spare key. I mean, based on what we have read on the charge sheet, that they had their own master key of some sort. Do they stand a chance? I mean,
that one, Bridget, you're tempting me, but we can't answer. You know, because that will be going the area of the merits, and so that will be contempt.
But okay, so not to go in there, but okay, what will be? What do you think is the fate? I don't know how else to ask that question. But what do you think will be the fate of these people who stole?
Actually, I think that public support, right? Yeah. Public support should come up. We should give a lot of support to the prosecution and OSP, okay? So that they can rather stop the trial. Listen, this trial
of the house helps.
Yes. And then see how much information we can rather get from them. Who brought money into the house? Did they see who brought money? Who and who came there? Because you know now, because of the kind of projects Madame Dapaah is overseeing and the rest. Oh, there are some prime suspects. Everybody knows that, hey, this kind of work is likely it's Esumesi who brought this money and all that. Let's ask the children, did they see Esumesi? Did they see? Maybe they have a lot of information.
So they can become like state witness.
Thank you. That's why we should be interested. As for them, no. What? There isn't too much of an interest in that because the bigger
they've been able to recover the things they bought. I mean, the houses, they've taken them back. Monies, they've taken some of them back.
Perfect. And you know, it's been said that, what do you call it? So apart from the recovery, you see how the public is made it clear that criminal case is not their interest. And I like to the public. Yes, because that is where. So we are dealing with the root cause. Don't deal with the symptoms. Those are the symptoms. If you deal with the house, that's symptoms. Deal with the root cause, you see.
Because if you hadn't brought money in the house, substantial amounts for them to be attracted to it, so they wouldn't have stolen in the first place.
The one who brings sugar cane to the house brings flies, right? So he's the person who brought the flies to the house. And so the public got it right. And it's good. It's good that we're putting all the attention there. For these things, we can always...
But it doesn't look like it. It doesn't look like, I mean, it looks like there's a deliberate, calculated attempt to make sure that these house helps or domestic staff face justice.
Yes, and so that's once again the problem. The Ghanaian is reticent. We need to get up and support them. We need to get up and make more noise and tell the Attorney General that, look, no, our interest is not in that criminal prosecution for now. We want to see what help, what information we can get from the house helps. What information we can get from them.
How can we do that?
Because, so that is just like we're doing now. So when the AG hears this, and last week I was on TV3, we've been saying it, social media, people are saying it. Maybe we should look for a petition. Except that, perhaps now this is the first time I'm thinking about this. Bridget, maybe you can lead it. That look, Bridget, to gathers what? Maybe 1,000 signatures calling on the Attorney General
to stop the criminal prosecution of the
and rather see how we can get help from these house helps especially. Then
to turn it on. Yes. But that would be if the state is interested in prosecuting Madam Cece Dapaah.
Who is the state? That is you and I. The Attorney General, the government is supposed to represent us. So we can see, even from the reaction so far, that we are not interested in the criminal case. We are interested in Madam Dapaah's case. So in case the Attorney General is not getting it, then maybe let's make more noise. Let's advocate more. That is where we are interested in. Because these things have been gathered, retrieved from them. So at least it's good. So let's see what else can they give us, what information. That's where I focus. We are not well organized. Sometimes look at the democracy, but sometimes you can't blame us. People are hungry. People can't buy food. So the preoccupations of survival. So it's difficult to come and do these advocacy things, you see. So maybe those of us who are a bit more fortunate, we should lead the charges. Because I meet people all the time in the streets. They say, yes, lawyer, keep on. We can't come because, look, we are hungry. We can't buy food. So, look, we need to go work, earn a living, right? So let's show leadership. Those to whom
much is
given, much is expected. So we must do more. And then, of course, we'll pull our fellow citizens along gradually.
Were you surprised that when the Vox Pop, to the Ghanaian public about asset declaration, a lot of them sounded as though, look, I'm not even interested in what they have. Don't let the public see. If they see, they would steal. Oh, these people have built their life. They have this, they have that. They were not interested in really seeing the assets declared of minister, that even if it is declared, I don't want to know. Were you surprised at that posture? What do you think, over time, has been built in the mind of the Ghanaians to accept wealth, even if it's questionable?
Yeah, obviously, because, and this has been a problem for decades, is that we worship money. I mean, speaking Ghanaian English, we've never, it's like get rich quick, okay, or die trying. Yeah, we just don't mind. And it's been like that. It didn't start today. No, it didn't start. The older ones, those in their 60s, 70s, 80s, yes, when they were younger, about 30 years ago, 30, 40 years ago, I used to hear, that's what those much older people who have died and gone, that's what they used to say about these older ones. Yeah, they used to accuse these guys that they didn't like working, the youth of today, they are just lazy, they want to get rich. Yeah, the people who now...
And we're seeing the same
narrative. It's a cycle. It didn't start. I remember it very clearly when I was young. I remember it very well. They were saying that the young people of today, if I look at those people they call young people of today, Now, a lot of them, those are the people with 60 and above. Yeah, they are the ones. They are the ones. So it didn't start today. Very clear. Look, all you need to do, those days when TV was just GTV, then eventually TV3 came, and then Metro TV came, the Metro that you have to, yes, those days, you find a account drama, this is, yeah, but except that, to be honest, there was still a lot of fight to make sure that we didn't worship money. Because I remember those days, you couldn't even accept a gift from a friend. Because when you came home, your bag would be searched. Or even if not that day, in no time, your mother would find out. You couldn't accept, I remember.
But those times it was attributed to juju. You could be killed if you accept a gift. Maybe the root cause, they would put evil. They would say, oh.
Yes, there was also juju. Yes, that's also one
scared.
side. Then the other side was just that you will be searched at home. It will be found. Then this is what they used to say about criminals. I mean, so to speak, people who had bad behavior. The first thing they will tell you is that, look, this is your bad behavior. If you don't stop, nobody's going to give their daughter away to you in marriage. That's the first. They tell you, continue. You see, nobody's going to give their daughter away to you in marriage. But now it's the opposite.
No,
yeah.
Now it's the opposite.
Yes.
I think I heard somebody say there's even a place reserved at the mosques.
And
churches for people who have money. It doesn't matter what the source is. What the source is.
Yes. So let's continue. So the more we talk about this, and it's good. Sometimes we underestimate what we are doing. But people who are trying to live straight and narrow, very decent lives, when they hear this, then there's an impetus to go on. Yeah, because this fight, it's not easy. No. It's not easy. But we just have to accept that, look, some people have to sacrifice and fight. So let's keep fighting. It's not a joke. So the honest ones, when they hear this, then it gives them the impetus to continue, except that their numbers are few.
I'm one person who was moved by your comments that this government is a criminal gang.
Yeah.
And I agreed. And then you came back to retract it. I said, you killed my vibe. What happened? So you gave me the impetus to say, you have said something. I agree that this government is made up
of a criminal enterprise.
It's a criminal enterprise. Yes. And then you took it back.
There is a criminal syndicate. You guys didn't give me enough support. So they said, oh, you couldn't say that about the president of the country.
But Al Jazeera has, since that statement, Al Jazeera has come up with the
gold mafias. Yes, he said he will sue them. The last time somebody checked, it's been over 60 days.
I think we are now 70 plus.
Can you imagine? He's not able to sue. So that's it. So now.
So it was because you took the statement back because.
I didn't get enough support. So people said this old thing that, in our society, he's older than you, don't say it. I'm sure now, you see now, when you say there's a criminal syndicate, everybody's like, it's no news.
So you regret taking it back?
Well, maybe if you had asked me to reflect on it.
Yeah, yes. On hindsight, with the benefit of hindsight.
Yeah, so maybe you should have just stayed. Yeah, you should have stayed. No
because as of this moment, you will stay by it. You will stick by it.
Oh, no, yes, even to death. To death. Right. Look, in a democracy, from time to time, democracy is, the tree is worshipped with the blood of patriots and villains alike. Look, some people will suffer. Just that's it. That's it. People are suffering. Look, I've seen people who try to blow the whistle in their job and they've been sacked. They are suffering in silence. But as they hear me, I've heard a number of those and be encouraged. Look, this government is going next year by this time. President Kufuor will not be relevant because by August next year to all be about the candidate. So he's just going. So you get your jobs back. Those kind of things.
How do they carry on when they see what has happened to Professor Frimpong Boateng? A whistleblower who had a report sitting at the Flagstaff House for over 2 years until it was leaked in the public. And the response from the government, the president, Nana Akufo-Addo, is that it's a hearsay. I want to remember the exact expression, but something like, just noise. How do you reassure us when the president has said, I accept corruption, I'm part of the corruption? How do I, if I'm a whistleblower, how do you give a motivation to somebody who is looking up to Professor Frimpong Boateng and what he's been taken through? How do you motivate them?
So what I have to say is that, look, if you don't continue, then it will get worse. Yes, if we don't, the moment we keep quiet, then they will just envelope all of us or eclipse all of us. So just keep that voice going. We need to keep going. It's always been like this. That whistleblowers who blow the whistle, no matter the consequences, people are losing their jobs for blowing the whistle. This is unfortunate, but please, that's that's part of the price you pay for blowing the whistle. God has his own way of restoring you. Let's continue. As we say, right now, it's very exciting for me to the extent that they are not willing to resign. I know that at least next year by this time, we'll be looking forward to December, and so Akufo-Addo will be history. Yeah, and then now he will feel it. When he becomes an ordinary man, he will see. Yeah, he will see that he really has just wasted that time.
I read my last question, I guess my producers are in, so my last question. I read a post from one of the lawyers of the president said, inflation is going down, they are not talking about it. Cedi has gained its strength, they are not talking about it. And that is because inflation fell by some 0.5. What about the mismanagement? Because they've mismanaged so much to the point where if they see a tiny, minutest decrease, say inflation 43, so it was say 44, and we're 43, and he thinks that we should be shouting on our roof when you came to meet 9, 13, and so why do you think there's that effrontery to demand of citizens the very minutest achievement of government?
It's the timidity of the Ghanaian. That's it. It's a timidity. Nobody wants to.
So the government has figured us out that we are timid, and so they will keep doing that. So it is to get the citizens angry to act.
No, because they know we will not act. It's always been like that. That's how we've been profiled. You remember those days they used to, when Rawlings was in charge, was it Reagan who is said to have reported to have said 12 million cowards being ruled by a Scottish bastard? Yeah, we've always, a lot of our people have been, timid. Yeah, there are a few brave people, but they are not enough. We need a certain critical mass. Like I said, last year, we organized Kumi Preko. People were scared of coming out.
Well, why not? Because when the lawyers came out, they sprayed hot water on them.
Yeah, but, I mean, that was different. See, some young lawyers came in, nothing happened to them. I remember, look, this is Dapaah, this is Miracle, so many of them. My own genius in the law firm, Komivi, Marcel, I'm Dia, Divine and cool. Well, about 10 lawyers came, nothing happened to them. Yeah.
Okay. What keeps you motivated? Why do you keep going?
Yeah, because there's no option. That's just it. There's no option. The thing is that Ghana has to be saved. So that's the least that I can do. I've seen people do it, and I think that that's the least I can do. Remember when Kwame Nkrumah, and it's always very important, young people don't know our history. When Kwame Nkrumah was even fighting for independence, J.B. Dankwa and Buzia and their clique were not in favor. They said, no, we don't need independence. And they went as far as even sending a delegation to the Queen to tell the Queen that Ghana is not ready for independence. Can you imagine?
The one you want to name University of Ghana.
Yeah. So it's a charade. It's a charade. Yeah, they sent a delegation to the Queen. Then subsequently, Buzia himself traveled to London and repeated it, the same thing. We are not ready for independence. We don't want independence. That's our history. So the motivations are, look, Ghana, you always have the naysayers, you always have the detractors, but we need to fight for the forward march of the country.
Do you see justice with Cecilia Dapaah? Do you think Ghanaians will get justice? At least make one example out of Cecilia.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely, no doubt. Because you see, the first one is at least she's lost the position. She's been named and shamed, even though we are not down with the proceedings. Akufo-Addo, he's suffered his own brand out of it, and he's even the bigger loser because he has gotten his fingers bent. So that all these are justice, naming and shaming and all that. Those are justice. And then also the huge cachet of cash. That cash, then, yeah, it's okay. Minimum, even if we don't get corruption charges against her, as I said, we can confiscate. Yes, so confiscation is a different kettle of shit. There's a fish from the corruption charges.
Okay. Yes. Mr. Martin KPEBU, thank you for your time. Thank you so much for making time to talk to us. My name is Bridget Otu. Keep your comments on all our social media platforms. Use the hashtag #OneOnOne. Again, thank you for watching.